Summer approaches and school is let out. Many teenagers will get their first jobs. These jobs come with the responsibility of managing finances. WIFR reporter Rhea Walters talks to Stateline financial groups about the importance of teaching financial literacy to young people.
The sooner you can build good habits around personal finances, savings, budgeting, spending, it's really just going to set you up.
70% of students don't have access to financial literacy classes in school, according to the National Financial Educators Council. Savant financial advisor Jeff Lewis says that can make things hard when people start earning an income.
And students need to know about it, and for whatever reason, we're just lacking in that area. And I think we're doing good work and good progress within the school districts to take the next step in that area.
Opening a bank account, knowing about savings, and learning about credit is part of becoming an adult. Northwest Bank's Gina Caruana says families should start off slow when creating accounts.
You might want to start off with a savings account. A savings account isn't as transactional. And then as you start to build and go closer to maybe having a job and needing to have a debit card and things like that, then you make the next step.
Caruana says parents should begin conversations about finances before teens bring home their first paycheck.
As you are doing things at home, you're doing your online banking, or you're paying a bill, or you're setting up your payroll, involve your child.
Experts caution without proper financial skills, young people can quickly dig themselves into holes.
Keep your debit card number safe, get your account number safe. We don't want to scare our children, but we do want to make sure that they have the information.
In the Stateline, Rhea Walters, WIFR News.
Lewis mentions apps can help people manage finances as well when first starting. He recommends Greenlight to help parents teach their kids how to spend wisely and manage balances.